A fault is a weakness, a defect, a fracture. Faults divide, tear, and consume. Here in the city of Chester's Chasm, we struggle to maintain that precarious balance over the precipice in the earth, in our lives, and in our hearts. This story is about 4 teenagers with faults of their own.
The fault between my faith and freedom.
The fault between my family and identity.
The fault between my choice and my obligation.
The fault between my life and death.
As these fractures grow, we stand at the edge and ask, what must we sacrifice to sate the void's endless hunger? Is it possible that the answer lies within all our faults? Greetings, and welcome to All Our Faults, a Monster Hearts 2 actual play podcast by the Tabletop Talespinners network. I am your hostess and producer, Mistress Winter. This is the first in a mid-season epilogue series called Aftershocks, where we discover the fates of our teens after the cataclysm that left their friendships divided. First, we have Michael, who, despite being in full rebellion mode, answers a summons by his vampiric master, Dominic Vega. Content warnings for this episode include violence and near-death experience. Please enjoy. Aftershocks, like yesterday's trash. Michael, when last we left, after causing untold amounts of chaos at the Cascade and strangely deciding to float into town, molest William Harker, a willing William Harker, I will point out, and then you were headed home when you received a thought, a telepathic communique from your master, who demanded your presence.
Then I must go. It's time.
You float above the city, headed for one of the taller buildings, knowing exactly which one. Most of the building is dark, as the windows on the outside are shaded, so you don't really get a good look inside. But you do make out the lights down at the entryway. There are the mandated lights up at the top to protect from aircraft, and some dim lights back toward the loading docks. How are you proceeding?
Well, I'm already floating. Does he have a balcony?
He does not.
Then I will land, I guess, in the shadows and walk around the building to the front entrance.
Okay. You enter alone through the front entrance. Even the doorman seems to not move to assist, just regards you with some amount of pity.
I'll proceed to the elevator unless I'm stopped.
You are not. Security just kind of watches you. The doors seem to click open just as you reach them. And within that gilded cage, you are pulled aloft until they open again to the foyer of Vega's apartments. The large, ornate doors that lead to where his study is are open. And in the yawning dark, your vampiric eyes can make out the familiar furniture and the figure of Dominic Vega on the other side of the desk, peering out the windows into the city.
You called.
Enter.
And I do.
As you pass the threshold, there is a thwack and searing pain as something very solid and pointed cracks against your kneecap, dropping you to your good knee. You look up to see a second figure who is wielding a wooden bat, silver nails, taps it on his shoulder. This young man, also with blonde hair, slicked back though. You can just make out the chiseled muscles underneath his shirt, as it's very thin. He just smirks at you as he steps out of your reach.
Who are you? Another reject?
Vega turns.
No, these are one of my true sons. As you might have been, could have been, but you have thrown that away. You have defied me.
I've always been a disappointment, haven't I?
You should promise, but perhaps I was seeing things. Perhaps I need to erase my mistake.
He squats down really closely and takes your chin firmly in his hand.
Do you long for death?
I spit in his face.
How many harm are you at if you take one from that bat? Because Vega, in a blur, cracks you across the skull with a heavy fist.
Petulant.
And he pulls out his handkerchief and wipes his face off.
I remember you once asking me for defiance and violence.
You do not disobey your master. You do not disrespect your master. You have shamed me publicly. You make it seem as I have no control over my house, and I cannot allow that to continue.
So is this it? Is this the end?
Unless you can convince me otherwise. What worth do you have? What value? Because I don't keep things that are worthless.
I don't know that I have any, do I?
At this moment, no. I see nothing.
It's a shame. When I don't have a black eye, I'm prettier than that one.
So that is it, then. You care nothing for what bit of life and power I have offered.
I never said that. I just don't know what kind of value I can offer, considering your disappointment in me so far.
Well, if that is what you believe,
At this point, it doesn't matter what I believe, does it? It's what you believe, isn't it?
and I believe you on nothing. I suppose you could have convinced me otherwise, but that time is past. Reggie, at least take him downstairs. I'd rather not have to clean the floors again.
Can I attack Reggie?
You can.
I would love to. I don't know what Vega wants. And I guess if there's any way to, not get murdered tonight, maybe showing that I can overpower this one means I have value. Maybe showing I have the violence Vega has asked me to show. That being the case, can I first try hypnotizing Reggie to stun him so then I can attack?
You can certainly try.
I would love to.
Go ahead and, what is that, dark or hot?
Roll hot, yep. And for me, I am +2 for hot, which means I got an 8.
Okay.
What I would say is I'm going to give Reggie quick eye contact and hold it. And without saying anything, just try to entrance him for a moment so then I can rush in and attack.
Okay. I will give you a forward on your lash out physically.
Okay. Swell. Then I will lash out. And is that also hot or volatile?
Volatile.
That would be a 1. No, 2. I can math.
Woof. He is momentarily held as he fights your attempt at hypnotizing him, but it is ultimately too fleeting As you rush in, he spins the bat up from his side and catches you in the chest. Take another harm.
Can I continue fighting back, or am I prevented?
You can try until you die.
In for a penny, in for a pound. It's a penny. That's 5. I'm just flailing about. I imagine, like, trying to leap up, like, fangs out, hands clawed, and as I leap, like, it just... whatever Reggie does, maybe, like, attacks back and, like, gets me in the gut, and I, like, flop on the floor.
So you leap up, claws and fangs, practically, and leap at him, in which he swings the bat again and catches you in the side, tossing you across the study. Take another harm.
I am currently at 3 harm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I'm still going to try attacking. What else can I do? 5 again.
Oh, no. You did say earlier that you were okay if Michael dies?
Yes, yes. If I do take a 4th harm right now, I do have the benefits of having had sex with Bert.
Okay.
Just sort of completely and entirely out of character. I feel like Michael feels like he has nothing to lose and is just lashing out wildly. This just feels right for Michael, regardless.
This is where we're going to go with it. The absolute beatdown that Michael receives would have killed a normal man 5 times over. It is brutal, it is vicious, and it is cruel. By the time that Reggie stops, Michael is a bloody mess.
And I think we've met the conditions of leaving our darkest self.
Yes.
I've been put in my place by someone more powerful.
Reggie picks Michael up by the shirt and drags him to the elevators. You descend way deeper than you've been in this building. In your fading consciousness, you can make out the smell of, like, mildew, of cement, of rust, that metallic scent that hangs in the air with, like, machine rooms, or in this case, a dungeon. As you are dragged to the far corner of whatever this place is, wherever it is, and dumped upon piles of trash, left for dead, as Reggie returns back upstairs. Michael's only saving grace is the deal that Bert had made with death, and having some of that transferred over in their encounter together earlier. Death does not come, but unconsciousness does. What are the last thoughts that cycle through Michael's mind before he slips into darkness?
He's going to think about William and reflect on that moment. He's going to think about Celine and hope she's okay. He's going to feel really, really terrible about how he's treated Celine. He's going to hope that maybe now he can be free of Vega, but if he lives, he expects he won't be.
Sometime later, you're not sure how long, consciousness will spark again, and you find yourself down in what was supposed to be your grave.
Again, with the trash. Can I find my way out?
Give me a runaway.
That is plus volatile.
Volatile.
Minus volatile is a 7.
Enough. In that case, you do get away, but you either run into something worse, cause a big scene, or you leave something behind.
The most interesting is if I cause a big scene, in that it is unavoidable that Vega knows I am alive. So I have been witnessed.
Okay. What kind of scene do you cause, and do you cause it intentionally? As it stands, there does not seem to be a lot of options as far as exits. There's a stairwell, there's an elevator, There is going to be a freight elevator in the back.
What I think is there's probably like an emergency stairwell going up, but I am just in really poor physical condition. I'm bruised. I probably have lacerations on my body that are visible. There's something wrong with me. And I walk up the stairs into the sunlight and I like shy away from it and walk up and just stumble out of an alleyway into the streets. And people are just wondering what happened. And maybe the police are called and I'm taken to a hospital.
All right, yeah. As you emerge into the sunlight, having exited out an emergency door, which alarms begin to blare, you make your way out onto the street, blinded by the daylight. It blinds you to the people around, but you can hear their gasps at the state of you. A good Samaritan or other asks from a safe distance, Hey, buddy, are you okay? Do you need me to call someone?
I don't even think Michael acknowledges them. He's just walking in a direction, any direction, stumbling.
You have some gentle hands that try to get you to stop, to sit down, to stop and wait. You do hear somebody shout, call 911.
Maybe Michael will try to run away. Michael is wary of all the negative attention, what his mother will say. Like, this is a problem. So I think Michael is going to try to get away from all the attention before an ambulance gets there.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that makes the most sense. I don't think he's going to go willingly. Like, I imagine him, like, shoving people away as they try to touch him, both just because there's been trauma and also because he's afraid of what happens.
Absolutely. You'll disappear down a few alleys to lose the onlookers. You do hear, after a few minutes, the now distant sirens. But you retreat into obscurity and turn the corner, stumbling through, and as your eyes adjust, you find yourself in a small homeless camp. You have several makeshift structures, tents. Some of the city's homeless are milling about, going about their own affairs. A few of them look your way, concern, pity, maybe, but ultimately an acknowledgement of shared trauma in some of them.
I hate that I have to say this. Is there anyone I could feed on? I am so hurt, and I've lost probably a lot of blood, and I think Michael needs to feed.
There are plenty of people available for said feeding.
Yeah, this is not with intent to kill. This is, like, to heal some harm, lick the wound so it goes away.
Did you want to hypnotize somebody or try and turn them on?
Hypnotize is probably where he's going to go, because I don't think turn someone on is where his head's at right now. He's in too much pain.
There's a huskier man, big bushy beard, unkempt hair, who is warming himself by a barrel fire. He looks like he has enough constitution to be able to take a biting.
Okay. Then I'll hypnotize him to, like, come and try to help me. And while he, like, leans over, I'll reach up and bite. Hopefully he doesn't remember anything, and I will heal some harm with the feeding. And he definitely doesn't die. That's the other one. I get to pick 2. Do you need me to roll for hypnotic?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank God. Okay, good. That is...
You needed a win today.
I needed a win, and that's a 12. So just, despite how weakened I feel, I think I put all of my energy and, like, will into just making eye contact with this man, making sure that his mind is clear, just having him come and discreetly allow me to feed. And then using the feeding, I get to choose between healing 1 harm, taking a forward, and definitely doesn't die, and I heal a harm.
Okay. He turns a little bit as you draw near. You can get up on my fire. But as he meets eyes with you, the hypnotism sets in, and that silent mental command that you pass draws his eyes to a nearby door, kind of shoddy looking, rusting through in places, and he moves purposefully over to it, opens it, and leads you in where you can feed privately.
Okay.
After you finish, I imagine you reemerge feeling a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And he, a bit shakier, but no worse for wear, stumbles out, blinking as the hypnotism fades. He looks around confused for a moment, sees you. It's like a word or losing your train of thought, and resettles his clothes around him and heads back over to his fire.
Michael, feeling a little bit more able-bodied, even if he looks worse for wear, he's exhausted too, is going to start walking. And I think he'll walk in the direction not of home. I think he's too afraid to go there. I think he'll walk in the direction of William.
Okay. It will take some time to get there, and we will address that next time. This has been a Tabletop Talespinners production. Special thanks to TTN director Emma Kocar. This episode starred Juicy Garland, who can be found at Juicy Garland on most socials. I have been your MC and producer, Mistress Winter. You can find me at Mistress Winter. For more information about TTN and all our faults, check out the link tree in the show notes. Thank you, and we'll see you next week with another Aftershock. May your hearts be safe. Farewell. This has been a tale from the Tabletop Talespinners Network.